Welcome back, fellow creators, to another episode of our Gaea tutorial series here on Somnial Art. Today we're diving deep into the world of Gaea's Cracks Node. This powerful tool allows us to create intricate and realistic geological formations, adding depth and character to our terrains. So grab your creativity hat and let's get started. The Cracks Node is a versatile tool that offers a range of customization options to tailor your terrain exactly to your vision. At its core, it generates crack patterns within your terrain, mimicking natural geological processes. Let's break down the key properties of the Cracks Node. To find the Cracks Node, you're just going to go to your toolbox over here and look under Primitives. And there it is, Cracks. We're just going to drag this and drop it onto our graph editor. Beautiful. Just like that. That kind of looks like a honeycomb. That's crazy. Alright, let's check out the properties on this now. The first property we see is style. Under style, we're going to have three other options: normal, hard, and classic. And as you can see, this node is pretty crazy. So I've gone through and zeroed out most of the values over here. If I lowered them any further, you wouldn't be able to tell what it is because it'll just be a flat plane. So I've scaled these down just a bit so we can still see what's going on. And as you can see, this looks pretty crazy. So we're in style with normal. And you can see how we've got these neat, crazy little spiky things. But also, once we disabled the warp strength and warp size, it turned into this crazy grid looking thing. I've upped the scale quite a bit, just so we can kind of see what's going on. But if we drop it down, there is a lot going on, isn't there? So this is definitely a pretty interesting node. I can tell already it could be used as a powerful tool in larger landscapes. The normal parameter. This style generates cracks with smooth transitions between different elevation levels, resembling typical geological features found in various terrains. And as you can see on the cracks, we have all these spiky things going on. They're pretty randomized, but it seems to be there's a higher peak in the center of the grid, and then it lowers out right in that area. Next up, we have the hard parameter. If you're aiming for a more rugged and defined appearance, the hard style is your go-to. It produces sharp and distinct cracks, suitable for creating dramatic landscapes or stylized terrains. And as you can see, it is really hard. Just check out the flush surface at the top here. With normal, we had all those spikes. This is pretty level and even. That is wild. The next parameter we have is classic. The classic parameter is reminiscent of traditional geological formations. The classic style offers a timeless aesthetic with well-defined cracks and subtle variations in depth and scale. And this looks pretty crazy right now. It's almost a cross between hard and normal, where you have the different peaking valleys, but it's almost completely flat across, just like the hard node. This will make a lot more sense once we add the warp strength and size back together. We'll be able to see a greater difference. So we'll cover this a little bit more as we get toward the end of these properties. Next up we have is Octaves. This property controls the complexity and level of details in the generated cracks. Increasing the number of octaves adds finer details and intricacies to the terrain, while reducing it creates smoother, more uniform patterns. The next parameter we have is scale. Adjusting the scale parameter allows you to control the overall size of the cracks within your terrain. Larger scale values result in broader and more prominent cracks, while smaller values produce finer details and narrower fissures. And moving on to our next parameter, we have depth. The depth parameter determines how deeply the cracks are carved into the terrain. Increasing the depth creates more pronounced features, while decreasing it produces shallower indentations. And moving right along to the next parameter is jitter. This is an important one. Adding jitter introduces randomness to irregularity to the crack patterns, mimicking the natural variability observed in geological formations. Higher jitter values result in more chaotic and unpredictable crack patterns. And as you can see, we finally got rid of those grid patterns, just adding a little bit of jitter to this. And now for the next property, warp strength. This setting controls the strength of the warp effect applied to the cracks, simulating the influence of external forces such as erosion or tectonic movement. And in this extensive list of properties, we now have warp size. Adjusting the warp size parameter determines the scale of distortion applied to the crack patterns. Larger values result in more significant distortions, while smaller values produce subtle variations in the shape and form. And finally, our last parameter, seed. The seed parameter allows you to randomize the initial state of the crack generation process. By changing the seed value, you can explore different variations of the crack patterns and find the perfect fit for your terrain design. But wait, there's more. Right down here we have another tab called Advanced Settings. We'll just click that. Now we have Scale X and Scale Y. These advanced settings provide independent control over the horizontal X and vertical Y scaling of the crack patterns. This level of customization allows you to precisely adjust the aspect ratio of the cracks to achieve your desired aesthetic. With a solid understanding of each setting within the Cracks node, you'll be well equipped to unleash your creativity and craft stunning terrains in Gaea. So don't hesitate to experiment and explore the endless possibilities that this powerful tool has to offer. Alright, now that we've covered all the properties, let's play around with the settings a little bit more. I'm going to restore the default values, and we'll play around with some of these settings here. We'll add some extra octaves. Well, that's pretty cool. We can reduce this. I always like to work with it in a little bit larger scale. Now I can see what's going on. The depth on this is pretty crazy sometimes. We'll change our setting to normal mode. It's going to give us those nice chiseled out looking cracks. Add some more jitter to it, but not too crazy. Yeah, right about there. Beautiful. Add some more warp strength. We can really push this one. I'm not liking this big old spike on this side here, though. It's kind of strange. Let's see what happens if we change to classic mode. Definitely a different beast here, isn't it? Alright guys, I'm going to give you a super useful, valuable tip when it comes to working with cracks. By default, this works great if you're working with other primitives and you're planning on combining them. But say you just want to work with the cracks in general, and all you want to do is produce a displacement map. Well, here's the tip. You're just going to go down here to this INV, which actually stands for invert. You'll click this invert button, and look at that. Does that look like cracks or what? You've still got that crazy, wild stuff at the bottom, but the surface definitely resembles cracks a lot more. Unfortunately with this though, you do lose a lot of the detail on the flat surfaces because this was once the bottom at one point in its life, but it's definitely a lot more visually appealing to look at, and you can see better what is going on. And there you have it. We've journeyed through the fascinating realm of Gaea's Cracks node, unveiling its secrets. Whether you're sculpting rugged mountain ranges, crafting alien landscapes, or bringing fantasy worlds to life, the Cracks node is your trusty companion for adding depth and realism to your terrains. If you found this tutorial helpful, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe for more exciting content on Somnio art. And hey, if you have any questions or suggestions for future tutorials, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Your feedback fuels our creative journey together. So keep creating, keep exploring, and keep pushing the boundaries of your imagination. Alright my friends, till next time, happy terraforming.